Welcome back to the grind for another Act 7.2 guide. This is going to be quest number 2 with Set in Stone, Vigor, and then Power Gain, as well as Mystic Ward. So it will be less reliable to nullify the heal and Power Gain buffs. However, you can stagger and prevent them from triggering, as we'll see shortly. So the heal and the power up are on a timer, and if you cross a 25% threshold, it will refresh that timer. So that is a way to avoid having those trigger. However, they don't really do that much. So even if they trigger, it's not the worst thing. Another thing to consider is if you attack into the block with Set in Stone, you're going to get a Petrify. But if you have the same class as the opponent and you intercept them, you're going to put a Petrify on the opponent, and you can stack these, which can help reverse the healing that they are triggering, as well as the power gain, or at least just reduce it unless you have multiple stacked up. Now, you can see here, once we get a third Petrify from Captain America's Infinity War's kit, then we actually reverse the healing. And so Captain America Infinity War or other champions that have their own Petrify or other form of heal mitigation are very good for this as well. Now, Falcon, you have to be a little bit careful with, because if you have locked on active and you intercept, you're not going to trigger the Petrify. But at the same time, if you attack into the block, as you see here, we are not getting a Petrify on us while we are in the locked on state. So as you can see, we don't have any way to prevent that healing, but it really only healed a little bit. Now, once lock on ended, we intercepted, and then we applied a Petrify to the opponent. And so you want to be cautious about that and be aware of that, so that if you are trying to put a Petrify, you do it before locking on, and that way you have it active before the heal and power gain trigger. So Falcon is a good option, not only because he has the class advantage and can apply the Petrify, but also because he can do some pretty decent damage, and you don't really have to worry about the heal as long as you bait out special attacks with the extra added power gain. Now, Immortal Abomination is another fantastic option. You can see as we attacked into the block, we got a Petrify, so you want to be cautious about this, especially if you are running Suicide Masteries, because then you are going to be losing health even more than you would otherwise. So now with Immortal Abomination, all the poison debuffs and weakness debuffs that he can apply makes it so that the healing is less effective to begin with. Plus, if you throw your special one, you can apply your own Petrify debuff, and if you throw in an intercept in there, you can really do a lot of things to mitigate the healing and even reverse it to help it do damage for you and make the fight go a little bit quicker. So he interacts quite nicely with the nodes, in addition to the fact that he has a lot of damage potential and some sustainability with the constant healing, as long as you don't attack into a block and get a Petrify buff and lose out on some of that healing potential. And because of all the ways to mitigate and reverse healing that Immortal Abomination has, you can actually use him in non-equal or non-same class matches on this path, because he'll be able to handle it quite well. Now, the next fight we are going to look at is Massacre, and the last two fights on this path actually I did with Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom is a fantastic option because you can apply the staggers. You never have to worry about the heal and the power gain triggering, and if they do trigger, you do have a chance to nullify it, but the chance is much less because of Mystic Ward. And with the power control that Dr. Doom has, you never really have to worry about the power gain anyways, but Dr. Doom is a fantastic option, and he has some decent damage as well. So you can just put the opponent into the Doom cycle, and I am kind of doing a modified Doom cycle because I have Suicide Masteries on, and we'll take a closer look at what I'm doing in the next fight as well. But you can see there, we were able to get through it quite easily without any of the buffs triggering, and you can actually just do this with a damage champion and just damage through the heal, because the heal only does like 4 to 5%, and so it's not really that big of a deal. So in the fights that I have Suicide Masteries on, I try to avoid using the special 1, or at least not too many times, and then I build up to a special 3, and you don't have to have the opponent at a full 3 bars of power for this rotation to work. This is after the first one, and I do 2 light attacks, dash back, and then go in again for another full combo with ending with 4 light attacks to steal as much power as I can, and then I just try to keep parrying and doing as many light attacks as possible, and I was able to build up to another 3 bars of power before the aura ended. So now I have 2 Furies active, and I do the same combo, immediately doing 2 light attacks, dashing back and just dashing in with the medium, and then ending with 4 light attacks on that combo, and then being as aggressive as possible, trying to get in as many light attacks as possible to build up power. And you can see we, before the aura ends, can get in enough power to throw off the special 2, and it doesn't always work to build up to 3 bars of power. It does depend on the opponent playing into you a little bit, but you can still keep the power limited with this technique and not have to worry about throwing special attacks. You can keep the buffs controlled and such. So it does work out quite nicely and saves you some recoil damage if you are running suicides and still want to use Dr. Doom. Now this last fight with Luke Cage, we are using Immortal Abomination. We have the same class as the opponent, so we can get some of those petrifies on if we do intercept him at some point. The problem is, as we've seen, if you accidentally miss an intercept and attack into the block, then you will get the petrify on you instead, and that can be a little bit annoying, but not the most game-changing, so it is still worth it to try to land some intercepts as often as possible. Now we're going into Acid Burn again. We're not going to watch the whole fight here, just watch some of it to see a little bit of the final fight here in action, and we get another intercept there to get that petrify, and I think we get a second one here. There we go, and now we are reversing the regeneration quite significantly along with the Acid Burn that we have applied and all that bonus damage. So let me know what champions you use for this lane or what champions you have that you plan to use for this lane. I really do hope that this guide and all the other ones that I've been putting out for Act 7.2 have been helpful for you. Let me know if you have any other specific requests for Act 7.2 guides or other quests or boss fights that have been a particular challenge to you, and I'll do my best to get them out. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck, and I hope to see you in the next video.